Welcome to Option Trades Today. I'm Tony the Bat Batiste, and I have a trade idea for you today. April 2nd, 2024. But first, as we always do, let's see what the market's doing. E-mini S&Ps, they're down $52.50, trading just off of their lows by about 5 or 8 handles. Handles are points on the E-mini S&Ps. The NASDAQ down 251, but really the Russell down 43 on a percentage basis, down a little over 2%, is the leader in the clubhouse to the downside. The Dow down 480 is equally as weak as the E-mini S&Ps and the NASDAQ on a percentage basis. Volatility up 84 cents, trading 1545, actually hanging in there a lot better than I thought it would, because earlier today talked about on the show how bonds had rallied a little bit, about 16 handles off of their lows of 117.05. I thought maybe volatility would get a little bit weaker and maybe we'd catch a little bit of breath to this market, but we have not as of yet. Oil up $1.35 and gold off of its highs, although up a whopping 1%, or $21.60. Gold about 20 points, 20 handles, $20 off of its highs it made earlier today. All right, on the equity side, you know what I love to do? I love to go to the high option volume list, and I've already clicked earnings at, meaning when are the earnings? And I like to look at stocks that have no earnings, and it looks like there's a lot of them, but it's not a lot of names that I like to trade, and a few that do like to trade have relatively low IV rank. So I'm going to put up a stock here, which is one I don't trade all the time, but have traded, especially at this time, meaning around April, when all these other stocks that we trade, as you can see on the right-hand side here, have earnings. Marvell does have earnings, but it's on 5/23, which is after expiration in May. 5/23 would be right here for Marvell. Now take a look one more time at what implied volatility has done. When you look at it from a chart view, it's up a little bit, but still looks like it's well off of its highs. As you can see, as the stock was going higher, volatility was expanding in here. Let's look at what it's been doing over the last 5 days. I'll put it to the top of the list here, or close to the top of the list here for you. So you can see the IVX 5-day change is up 2% over the last 5 days. A decent sized move with an IV rank of 38 and no earnings in the month that we're going to trade makes Marvell my number one character to trade today. Now, one other thing here, it's a $72 stock. So for those people who have written in on YouTube and left comments about the trades I make, or maybe you're liking the button, maybe you're subscribing to the YouTube channel, or just watching it on Tasty Live, I appreciate you all. But you ask for trades that don't use a lot of buying power on a smaller account. Well, here's one where you can do what the professionals call their number one trade, which would be a strangle, where you're using the most amount, getting the most amount of premium or bang for your buck in a strategy, and using a limited amount of buying power. I'm going to go here to around the 25 delta on each side. You'll notice here that I'm about $7 away from the stock, $7 away from $72, 65 to 72, about $7 away. If I was to go $7 higher, I'd be around the 80 strike. But if you notice, the 80 strike has a 30 delta. What this is showing you is that there's call skew. So I'm actually going to go a little bit further out to the 82.5 call, making this a completely delta neutral trade. You'll notice that the delta is 23 or 24. On the put side, it's 24. On the call side, giving us a delta of less than 1. More importantly, the buying power, $731, I think is in the reach of most traders that are watching this podcast. So here is a way on a relatively small price stock, using a limited amount of money in your account, $731, you can put on a strangle that has basically delta neutral. If you think the stock is going to stay sideways over the next 2 to 3 weeks, just meander around outside its expected move to the upside and just inside the expected move to the downside. So maybe you're neutral to ever so slightly bullish on this stock, then this might be a trade for you. The theta decay per day for that $700 and change of risk is about $8 a day. You're probably at profit right around that one standard deviation, 67%. Your max profit is obviously whatever you sold this for. I sold this for $3.31. That's going to be my max profit. Your max loss is infinite. Now, as we have showed many times on Tasty Live, your max loss is, you know what, somewhere around your buying power, $731 to make $331. Good risk reward ratio here. If you want to see these trades before you see this podcast and watch this, you go to the follow page, you go to Bob the Trader IRA, that's me. You'll see here at Marvell at around 10:32 in the morning. The stock now is 72.09. I put it on when the stock was 72.28. My probability of profit is the same of what I showed you, 67%. I got filled at 331. And you'll notice here that I leave you a little bit of a description here on everything I do. Delta neutral strangle using 20-ish delta options on both sides. You'll notice here in AMD from an existing position, I'm rolling down the untested side. And then in Boeing, we made $1.70 from this trade on 314 that you watched me put on in this podcast. All right, everyone, that's my trade for today. But here's the time where I ask you, please like, subscribe to YouTube. But just as important, or maybe even more important, please open, move, transfer your account to Tasty Trade, the #1 brokerage firm in the galaxy. Help us keep the lights on here and put some money in your pocket by just moving your account. Tasty Trade will give you up to $4,000 depending on your account size. Check us out and check us out now.